It is a holiday week in this part of the continent, but welcome to the Monday edition of Breakfast Central, reaching you live from News Central Studios in Lagos, Nigeria. I am Oluchi Enobong.
Well, good morning, Africa. Welcome to the program. My name is Olisa Chukuma. We are set to bring you top stories and news from around the African continent. Let's bring you what the headlines for today, Monday, the 19th July, 2020. And our elections, INEC releases list of candidates for the upcoming elections there.
And Huriwa moves to stop news regulation by NBC.
Also on the program, South Africa celebrated Mandela Day, which is all about it as a great man.
And Sarkodie unveils no pressure track list. And all about COVID-19 updates right here.
Is my mic not working?
Yeah, I think that's why they told me, because they told me when you took the second one, they told me to take it, but you already taken it. I couldn't stop. We'll begin the program with our top story, starting from the southeastern part of Nigeria, where the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, on Friday released the list of cleared candidates for the November 6 governorship elections in Anambra State. Now, missing on the list is the name of governorship candidate of the All Progressive Grand Alliance, APGA, in the person of Charles Soludo and his running mate, Onyekachi Ibezim.
Now, both Soludo and Ibezim were replaced with Chukwuma Umeoji and Obiageli Orogbu as the candidates and deputy governorship candidates of the APGA, that's the AGRA party. Now, also removed from the list of candidates of the People's Democratic Party, that's the PDP, Valentine Ozigbo, and deputy governorship candidates due to the submitting court order on the primary that produced them. Now, INEC, however, cleared the candidates of All Progressive Congress, as the APC, and UBA, and the deputy governorship candidate John Bosco Anedobi, as well as the candidates of the YPP, that's Ifeanyi Uba. Now, to bring clarity to some of the questions being asked by many Nigerians on the list, is INEC National Commissioner and Chairman Information and Education Committee, Barrister Festus Okoye, who joins us this morning on Breakfast. Barrister Festus, good morning. Welcome to Breakfast Central.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, Barrister Festus. Now, we would like to start by getting your view on the present situation of things in Anambra State ahead of the polls in November.
Well, the present situation is that we are clearly and irrevocably committed to the timetable and schedule of activities we released in relation to the Anambra governorship election. As you know, because it is a standalone election, it's an off-season election, the Commission decided to release the timetable and schedule of activities in January this year. So to enable and give all the political parties sufficient time, one, to put their house in order, and two, to conduct what we call valid party primaries. So since January, the political parties were given a copy of our timetable and schedule of activities. So what we have done is that we have followed methodically the timetable and schedule of activities, and we just released the list and personal particulars of the candidates that have emerged from their party primaries. And this is consistent with our timetable. In fact, we are on number 6, item 6 on our timetable and schedule of activities as we released. Out of 14 items, we are now on number 6. So that is where we are.
All right, Barrister Festus. Now, your commission released the list of cleared candidates on Friday, and there were, some concerns that, really raised a bit of eyebrows and a bit of it. Why is the PDP not on that list? Now, because according to the Electoral Act, INEC relates with the National Working Committee of Parties to get their candidate's name. Now, which candidate's name did your commission receive?
Let me put it this way. By our own rules and by our own procedures, the commission relates with the National Executive Committee of the different political parties as you asserted. And this is consistent with the provisions of Section 87 of the Electoral Act, which mandates the National Executive Committee of the various political parties to organize party primaries. Secondly, we not only relate with the National Executive Committee of the political parties, we also give access code to our candidates nomination portal to the national chairman of the political party, as recognized by the Independent National Electoral Commission. And as you are aware, 18 of the registered political parties gave the commission notice of their intention to conduct party primaries. Now, the national leadership of the party, of the PDP, for instance, submitted the list, the name of their gubernatorial candidate, and they submitted the name of one Valentine Ozigbo as their gubernatorial candidate for the November 6th governorship election. But before the publication of the list, the commission got two court orders. One, there was a court order from a suit filed by one Genevieve today, which states that the commission should not take any further steps in relation to the publication of the list and personal particulars of the candidates.
Okay.
Then we also got a court order in a suit filed by Valentine Ozigbo relating to the same party primaries, wherein he went to court and urged the court to compel the Independent National Electoral Commission to publish his name as the duly and validly elected nominated candidate of the party. And the court refused to grant him that particular request. So based on the court orders we had, we felt that we need to obey the court order. And obedience to the court order presupposes that we should not publish the name of any candidate relating to the PDP in Anambra State. So it was in compliance with the court order.
But we know, Barrister Professor, we know that there are two about factional primaries in PDP in Anambra State. Which one of them did INEC monitor out of these two, factions in the PDP in Anambra?
Well, in relation to our processes and in relation to our procedures, we are not aware that there's any faction of the PDP in Anambra State. This is because, in accordance with constitutional provisions, every political party that has done Congress or convention and elected any party executives ought to domicile their names with the Independent National Electoral Commission, and they must give the commission 21 days notice of their intention to conduct either a convention, a congress, or a meeting for the purposes of either electing the executives or conducting primaries. So based on that, when they finish and when we monitor, they submit the list of their elected party executives with the commission. So as far as the commission is concerned, the name of the party executives of the national officers of the PDP that we have are as we have them in our commission, and there has not been any change whatsoever. So we are not aware that there's a faction of the PDP in Anambra State. Right.
Barrister Festus, now we know there is a deadline for the submission of names to INEC. So what happens if these cases get resolved, even though we understand that you're working with just one particular party in terms of looking at the fractions or non-fractions? What happens if the cases within the party get resolved and they want to give you a new name? Will INEC still entertain any names at that time?
Well, let me put it this way. The conduct of party primaries and the determination on who is the candidate of a political party is strictly within the domestic realm of the various political parties. Now, the various political parties, the 18 political parties that conducted party primaries and gave the Independent National Electoral Commission the requisite 21 days notice in accordance with Section 85 of the Electoral Act to monitor their party primaries, have submitted the list and personal particulars of the candidates they intend to make their candidates for the election. Now, some of the political parties are in court. If at the end of the day, any of the courts makes a determination that the candidate whose name has been submitted was not the candidate that emerged from the party primary elections of the party, and gives us an order that we should replace that particular candidate with another candidate, we will definitely comply with the said court order. Okay. But in terms of a party organizing fresh party primaries and nominating fresh candidates, that particular period has completely elapsed and we cannot go back to it.
All right, quite an interesting stance by INEC. Now, Bryce, before we let you go, let's talk about APGA itself and the exclusion of Charles Soludo, who's quite a known name, from the list of cleared candidates. Now, the Victor Oye faction is denying that Judo KK is not a member of the APGA party. Tell us quickly, what played out here?
Well, as far as this particular commission is concerned, the national chairman of APGA, recognized by the Independent National Electoral Commission, is Victor Oye. The commission is not aware that any new convention or any new leadership has been elected for APGA. So based on our own processes and based on our procedures and based on what we have in the commission, Victor Oye is the national chairman of APGA. Now, they conducted their party primaries. The Independent National Electoral Commission was given the requisite 21 days notice, and we did monitor the party primaries by the party primaries of the primaries conducted by the Victor Oye-led National Executive Committee of the party. And then they submitted the list, the name of a candidate and his personal particulars. But we got a court order, a final judgment from a Jigawa High Court that sat in Birnin Kudu, saying that one Judo KK is the acting national chairman of APGA, and that we must accept the name and the list of candidates submitted by the Judo KK led National Executive Committee, so to say, of APGA. And then we also got a second court order saying that it is the list of that particular, the list and personal particulars submitted by the Judo KK faction, so to say, of the party that we should publish. And that's exactly what we have done. And all of them are aware that they have multiple court cases in court. And I want to say that it is important, before we get to the November 6th governorship election, for the political parties to put their houses in order. In some of the political parties, we have court orders and court judgments relating to an election that will take place in Anambra. We have court orders from almost all the 6 geopolitical zones. And maybe what we are waiting for now will be when we are going to get a court order from the from ECOWAS court, and one maybe from the African court. So I think that the political parties should put their house in order and not use the judiciary to create confusion in relation to the conduct of the elections in Anambra State. Right.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on the show today, Barrister Festus Okoye, INEC National Commissioner and Chairman, Information and Education Committee.
Thank you very much, Barrister Okoye.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, more top stories right here on Breakfast Central.
All right, still on Breakfast Central. Now, the advocacy group, the Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria, that's HURIWA, has condemned the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, for what it called its attempt to muzzle press freedom in the country.
Now, HURIWA argued that only dictatorial regimes reminiscent of the military governments of the past will see journalism as an enemy that must be brought down or forced to compromise noting that media houses in the country would be contravening the provisions of the Nigeria 1999 Constitution as amended, should they subscribe to the policy directed by the NBC. So there's a bit of a controversy going on, and this time it's the Human Rights Writers Association really coming out to air their views.
Right, because NBC came out not too long ago, sometime last week, they came out and they said media houses, be it print, digital or analog, television, what have you, should be careful in delivering certain information to the public, especially when it comes to banditry and when it comes to all this, the militants and all of those hideous crimes that's been committed. Because a lot of times, a lot of media houses review those stories when we're looking at the newspaper review, as we clearly do on Breakfast Central. And now NBC is saying we should not divulge such information to the public anymore.
Well, I think I think the drama will always continue with the NBC, because it's a case of, last week we talked about the press
amendment bill.
Yes, and this time we're talking about NBC. Yes, it's also quite press, but talking about the Broadcasting Commission of Nigeria. It's a case of editorial judgment and who has the right to say who edits what and who doesn't. You know, stations should have a right to say, oh, we can say XYZ, 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 and not leave it for the government. I know that there's a bit of a history between NBC and broadcasting stations, whether for TV or radio, and it continues to go on and on and on until at least we in the media, and I use the word, we can sit down and say, okay, XYZ can be agreed so that XYZ would not happen.
Whatever happened to freedom of press?
Right, that's the big question. All right, so let's go straight to more stories right here on Breakfast Central, and we go to South Africa, where it was all about Nelson Mandela International Day yesterday, also known as Mandela Day. Now, it's observed every year on the 18th of July to mark the birth anniversary of the former president of South Africa. Now, the day was first marked on 18th July back in 2010, following a declaration by the United Nations in November 2009.
Now, the day also celebrates a campaign known as 46664, which is Mandela's Robben Island prison number, and it's also a day to create awareness on HIV and AIDS. Now, earlier on, News Central Felicity Ezekwize spoke to two prominent South Africans to examine the legacy of Nelson Mandela.
I mean, in South Africa now, we've had problems with leadership in the last 10 years. And, you know, perhaps for the better part of the last 10 years, but recently we've had new leaders emerging with different ideas. And all of these are inspired by Mandela. You've had the same thing elsewhere in the continent. You know, we might quibble about Kagame's democratic credentials, but Kagame is serving his country. It's a country that continues to be haunted by the trauma of genocide. So they might not be as free as you and I. Ghana has turned around. I mean, you had a lot of coups problems in Ghana a while ago, but today Ghana, you wouldn't say that Ghana had problems with democracy. And so you will certainly have leaders who are inspired, who learn from their history. The point is, these memories that we have, these lessons that we have, we should never forget. Instead, we should try to diffuse them, make them part of our public consciousness. Even South Africa know that they can never have another Mandela. There is a song that says Nelson Mandela, there's no one like him. We accept that. But the point is, it is his memory that we cherish. And that memory continued to inspire us. Some of us, there was a time in South Africa here when certain ideas were poo-pooed because you had a kleptocratic regime that was anti-intellectual, that ridiculed academic views, right? But we continued to speak because we are Mandela's children. And then after a while, we were proven right, and the rogue is now in prison. So memory and the importance of continue to remember is very important.
Right, still on Breakfast Central on News Central. It is time for African Report, and we have joining us live for the African Report all the way from Zimbabwe, our Zimbabwean correspondent Lala. Welcome to Breakfast Central. Lala, what's the latest update from Zimbabwe?
Morning, Oluchi.
Morning,
Okay,
Lala.
so
Morning.
I'm good, thanks. I'm good, thank you. Besides the cold, I'm good.
Yeah, join the club.
Okay, so there's so much happening in Zimbabwe, but particularly in a small border town called Chirundu, where there's been reports of Zambians crossing over to Zimbabwe to get inoculated for COVID-19. Well, this is not the first time to hear that people from neighboring countries are coming to Zimbabwe for the vaccine. Earlier last month, actually from around May, there were reports that there were a number of South Africans that were coming to the country to get inoculated. And some of the South Africans that spoke to media at the time said that they were paying about $70 for the 2 jabs. Well, at the moment, it's not clear if the Zambians are paying anything or if they are getting it for free. But we all know that before the inoculation started, when the government was procuring vaccines, the president had said that vaccines were going to be free for Zimbabweans. But if foreigners wanted to come into the country and get inoculated, they were going to pay. But at this moment in time, we do not know if the Zambians are paying.
All right, Lala, that's quite a strange one. You know, Zambians crossing the border to get vaccination from Zimbabwe. You just mentioned that the government had said that it will be free for Zimbabweans, but isn't there supposed to be like a priority list of who and who should get it first? Healthcare workers, the aged, the sick, you know,
senior citizens,
people who need it more?
Okay, you know, Zimbabwe has been doing quite well. I mean, when it comes to getting people inoculated, even in the advocacy and bringing awareness to people. Of course, there are still challenges that the ministry and the government is still facing, and media is playing a role in that. So what happened when the inoculation started in early March? It started with health workers and essential workers, and journalists were put under essential workers category. So after that, then they moved to the elderly. But now it is open to everyone. And it seems it's also open to people that are not from Zimbabwe.
Right. Lala, now looking at the reception of a lot of Africans in terms of receiving the vaccine, in some other African countries, there's been quite a negative, a downslide in the number of people who are willing to come out to get this vaccine. What has been the reception in Zimbabwe?
Okay, generally, at first, the reception was not good. The reception was not good. I mean, there were a lot of conspiracy theories, going around. There were a lot of myths that the media, together with the Ministry of Health and the government, had to work very hard to make sure that all those myths and those conspiracy theories were busted, and that people got proper and authentic information when it came to vaccines. So generally, at the moment, we still have people that still obviously are reluctant in receiving the vaccine, that still have reasons for not taking the vaccine. And this could be traditional reasons, religious reasons, and others just, people just not wanting to have the vaccine in their system. But we have quite a good number of people that are turning up for the vaccine. On Friday, the country recorded over 59,000 people turning up to get the vaccine. And I should add that on the same Friday, the country recorded that it has now inoculated over 1 million people since the start of the inoculation, which was in March.
All right, so that's quite a fair number, compared to the population. And perhaps we should expect more vaccinations coming into Zimbabwe, perhaps the AstraZeneca, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, to get the population to, the so-called herd immunity, as they say, Lala.
Yeah, we hope we'll get those other vaccines. Because I know, speaking to a few people, some of them, their reasons for not getting the vaccine yet. Some of them are saying, we're waiting for the Johnson & Johnson. Some are saying, we're waiting for the Moderna. We don't want the Chinese vaccine. So we don't know. Maybe when those finally get to the country, people, those that have reservations when it comes to the Sinopharm and the Sinovac, maybe they will take the Johnson & Johnson. We'll wait and see.
All right, Lala, thank you very much. Our correspondent in Zimbabwe with the latest when it comes to the COVID-19 vaccination updates in the country. Thank you very much, Lala, once again.
Pleasure.
All right, on Breakfast Central, up next is the newspaper review.
All right, if you're just tuned in, this is Breakfast Central on News Central, and we're asking you to follow us on all socials. We're at News Central TV on Instagram, on Facebook, and our website is www.newscentral.africa. Of course, we're moving straight to the newspaper headlines. And the very first paper we have this morning is none other than the Sowetan papers. And the Sowetan seem to have quite a lot this morning. Looking at South Africa and the state of the nation, it's all about the rebuild the beloved country. That's what it says. Page 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now, following a week, this is a statement on the front page of Sowetan, following a week of mayhem that has left a nation reeling, now is the time to pick up the pieces and reclaim the future as only we South Africans can. That's what the paper is saying. It's all about the situation, crisis situation in South Africa at this moment, but you can get more of that from the Sowetan paper this morning.
All right, so there you have it. It's rebuilding the nation in South Africa after all that rioting and looting. Let's leave there and go to Nigeria with the Punch. Interesting picture on the Punch, bit of traffic gridlock in the city of Lagos yesterday. So it says commuters groan as ram sellers, buyers block Lagos-Ibadan expressway. So you can see a picture of heavy traffic on those ways in Nigeria, Lagos to be precise, yesterday, and also a picture of group of ram sellers. Also on the front page talks about Buhari's aid defense rejection, NBA others say resolution illegal and selfish. All about the e-transmission of election results. That's real causing controversy in the country. And also on the front page at the top there, it talks about telecommunication sector depletes forex by $10.8 billion in 5 years. You can find more of that on the front page of the Punch in Nigeria.
Moving from the Punch newspaper, we're going straight to the Daily Monitor this morning. One of the headers, the readers we have here is PLE Stars list of top schools per subject. Now you can see those young minds doing so well in the educational sector there. More details you will find the Daily Monitor this morning. Also looking at the Daily Monitor, the big story we have here, COVID vaccines sold to city traders secretly. This is an information between the Ministry of Health giving Ham Kigundu 2,000 doses of the scarce COVID-19 vaccine to immunize his tenants and workers. I mean, and this is coming barely, according to the information, barely after the businessman donated 530 million shillings to help the government tackle COVID-19. More details, page 4 of the papers. That's one of the major stories you have there. You have the picture, and this picture is showing the Ministry of Health's vehicles that are packed in front of Hamtower's building. This all happened in Kampala on Thursday, but you also have more information on that from the Daily Monitor this morning. Also looking at the Daily Monitor, beating COVID. Testing for COVID-19 was a tough decision. Who is saying this? You need to go to page 10 of the Daily Monitor for more information.
And how about that picture there of the man with the dumbbells? All right, so away from there, let's go straight to the front page in Liberia and see what they have. Front page on the front page, big story there. Getting brave in stealing is the big question, says where-led government launches investigation into several sudden wealth accumulation by junior government officials, and the pictures about those involved in the launch of this one in Liberia. So there you have it on the front page. Also, toying with lives and properties. Found out more of the front page in Liberia.
Right, and there you have it, the newspaper headlines today, July 19, 2021. But you know what? Today is a Monday and we still have a lot for you. But coming up next on the program today,
we'll talk about the Tokyo Olympics. It's 4 days to go. There's talk about...
And in the world of entertainment, Sarkodie unveils no pressure track list.
And the COVID-19 updates on today. You are still watching Breakfast Central on News Central, and don't forget to follow us on all our social media portals. We are also wondering what is going on in the world of COVID-19 updates based on vaccinations, testing in the continent. Well, Africa's COVID-19 cases has seen a surge with reported Delta variant spreading all across the region. Now, Israel Eferobo, our correspondent, has been monitoring all the proceedings. Israel, good morning to you. Where are we now with COVID-19 on the African continent?
Lisa, good morning. Oluchi, good morning to you as well. Africa, good morning. Well, indeed, it's a Monday morning here in Lagos and so much happening. We're going straight to Morocco and then what's happening with China and Egypt, and then what's this thing about the fourth wave here in Zambia? The update here. Well, Morocco yesterday announced over 2,144 new COVID-19 cases, taking a caseload in a North African country to over 557,000. The total number of recoveries from COVID-19 in Morocco increased to 531,000 after 848 more cases were added. Now the death toll rose to over 9,450, with 16 fatalities reported during the last 24 hours. That's why 505 people were in intensive care units. Meanwhile, over 11.2 million people have received the first vaccine shot against COVID-19 in the country. Well, China and Egypt have decided to jointly donate 500,000 doses of the COVID-19 vaccine to the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip to address the immediate needs of the local people. Now, the announcement came as Chinese State Councillor and Foreign Minister Wang Yi met his Egyptian counterpart Sameh Shoukry during Wang's official visit to northern Egypt. Now, the vaccine doses to be donated will be produced at the manufacturing plants jointly established by the two countries in Egypt and will be sent out as soon as possible through coordination with the Palestinian side. So, a senior Zambian government official, Kennedy Malama, said the country may experience a fourth wave of the COVID-19 pandemic this year. Now, Kennedy, who is the permanent secretary at the Ministry of Health in charge of technical services, said there was a possibility of having the fourth wave by the end of this year into early 2022. Now, he said it was for this reason that the government was prioritizing strengthening health systems across all pillars, including the vaccination program. Zambia has witnessed 3 successive waves, with the current third wave being more ferocious so far, resulting in a spike in cases and death. The country's cumulative cases stand at over 185,000, following 977 new cases recorded in the last 24 hours, while total deaths stand at over 3,000, following 32 new deaths in the last 24 hours. Now, to the figures now coming through from the Africa CDC, the region has recorded over 6.2 million cases with over 157 deaths. Over 5.4 million people have recovered, as over 56.4 million tests have been conducted. Well, there you have it. Morocco, new cases rising 2,144, and China and Egypt going ahead to donate vaccines to the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip, and then Zambia, a fourth wave looms end of this year and into 2022. That's according to the health authorities in the country. Well, that'll be about it on the update this morning here on Breakfast Central. Lisa.
All right, Israel, I know you have so much to catch up on, but I really want to ask you about the Delta variant updates in Lagos and Abuja. We know that last week, Sanwo-Olu, the governor of Lagos, you talked about a bit of measures for churches and gatherings. So where are we now in terms of the Delta variant? Are people really aware of what's going on?
Oh, yes, indeed. For the Delta variant, well, there's still a bit of contact tracing here and there, and the government is still making sure that people know that indeed the cases are rising. But the question that people are asking is this the rise in the cases, is it due to the Delta variant that we just discovered in the country? Could this be related to which no one really knows? But indeed, the government is still making sure people know that, hey, you do not gather so much crowd in a place, because the spike in cases recent in the last 3 weeks in Lagos is really something worrisome, and people are being aware of what exactly is going on. Olisa?
Right.
All right. Thank you very much, Israel Eforobo, our correspondent, monitoring everything COVID-19 all across Africa.
Many thanks.
All right, now while we still have entertainment and sport coming on much later on the show, let us show you some programs that you can watch on News Central later today.
Well, at 1 p.m. it will be time for Beyond the Continent.
And 7 p.m. West African time, we will be having Village Square Africa.
And after that gathering in the village, we can go straight to NC Continental Prime at 9 p.m. We'll tell you everything from Africa. All right, so we just had that update in terms of COVID-19, where we are in terms of Morocco and Zambia and other climes. But I'm really interested in Nigeria, West Africa.
Yeah, Lagos and Abuja and some other states. So there were about 6 states that were mentioned. Oyo State is also part of the states that was mentioned. And in terms of
seeing the Delta variant,
yes,
right?
the Delta variant, about 6 states were also. Even Port Harcourt was also mentioned at some point. You know, but now in Lagos, for example, I know Lagos State Governor Sanwo-Olu came out and gave some directive. One of them is for any religious gathering, it has to be 50% capacity. Now, why I'm saying this is because tomorrow should be a public holiday, a religious public holiday, and that will mean religious gathering, you know, in this part of the country. And right now, they're trying to encourage people to decentralize the gathering that should happen in certain regions and make it local. That's put it in your local government region. Go to the one close to your house. If you have a mosque, you can go to the one closer to your house as against going to the central mosque in the locality or in the states, as it were.
And also Abuja high alert after they discovered the Delta variant there. So I'm asking, you know, Lagos, Abuja, or your state, Delta variant. So it means everyone has to mask up right now in Nigeria, which means back to social distancing rules and applying all the measures.
Even if you've been vaccinated, you still need to have your face mask on. That's what is being told even by World Health Organization. Now, you being vaccinated doesn't mean you can yank off your face mask, because anybody can yank off their face mask and claim they've been vaccinated. Okay, so we'll have to stay safe as we try to avoid another fourth wave, heavens forbid, in Nigeria and other parts of Africa. Well then, it's time for entertainment. Up next, and we got Sam Dandy standing by. You are still watching Breakfast Central on News Central. Let's go straight to some entertainment updates. And I've got our entertainment plug, Samuel Ojo, a.k.a. Sam Dandy. All right, Sam Dandy. A lot happened during the weekend. So
it did.
I'm hoping that I don't get to hear the word or the name Diamond Platinums. Please.
It is.
Well, Lisa, stop it. Well, I mean, fortunately for you, sadly, there's no Diamond Platinum in the news today.
Sadly for you, fortunately for me.
Right, so let me start in Nigeria. 19-year-old Nigerian singer and songwriter Era Star has just teased her debut album. Now, it's going to be titled 19 and Dangerous. I know, right? Well, the superstar teenager signed to Maven Records January last year after she caught the attention of music mogul Don Jazzy. Now, she went ahead to release an EP that reached #1 on Apple Music in 5 countries and accumulated over 15 million streams across various streaming platforms. Now, of course, that's exciting news. Now, the singer, in fact, took to Instagram to make the announcement in a caption, and I quote, "My debut album, 19 and Dangerous, August 6th. Bad man, bad every day." Now, of course, Ira Star, who performed in Abuja last night for the first time, is yet to announce the track list, number of songs, or any features. But well, here's the teaser. I found this one very interesting.
Life is not problematical. We make it problematic because we're all listening to someone else, to something, without listening to ourselves. We clutter up our lives with insignificant things that have no value at all.
I mean, I wouldn't have taken it for the dangerous one, but she said it herself, 19 and Dangerous, and I'm definitely looking forward to that one. Well, let's go to the Gold Coast, where Ghanaian award-winning rapper Sarkodie has just unveiled a track list for his upcoming album, No Pressure. Now, the rapper had teased his 6th album for a long time, in fact, and fans have been waiting, and he had announced its early release on the 9th of July, but it was later rescheduled to the 30th of this month. Now, he captioned that post, "To deliver the album that you all deserve, I need a little more time. Now, of course, the fans, took to support him. Well, surprisingly, without any comment from Sarkodie himself, the track list is now visible on Apple Music. So if you're familiar with Apple Music, you can see the name of the songs, but then you can't play them yet. So No Pressure will have features from American rappers like Wale, of course, Nigerian American rapper Wale, Vic Mensa, UK rapper Giggs, South African music stars Casper Nyovest, Tanzania's Harmonize, and the only Nigerian on that playlist, Oxlade. Now, so far, only 2 songs from the album, which is No Fugazi and Coachella, are already out. So part of the 11-track album, 15-track, I beg your pardon, you can only play those 2, but you can see the names of the other songs. Well, why we anticipate the album dropping soon? Well, here's a reminder. This is Coachella by Sarkodie featuring Kwesi Arthur. Of course, we can't take that away from Sarkodie. He's great at what he does. And I guess we decided to play Vibration instead of Coachella, but of course, that's also a great song. Well, We're looking forward to both these albums, both for Ira Star and, of course, Sarkodie. Of course, Sarkodie is going to drop sooner, which is the end of this month, and Ira Star on the next month, August. So yeah, we're looking forward to that, and I can't wait. Once they come out, I'm going to rate those albums, that's for sure.
I'm so looking forward to the album, Sam Daniel. I like the way the songs are being released and piracy is being put into a box, as against years ago, where before the artist would even walk out of the studio, you could go to somewhere where I could get the CD for 150 naira. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so thank you so much, Sammy, for entertainment.
Anytime.
All right, thank you very much, Sam, for that one. Sarkodie, always got the lyrics in his native Ghanaian language. Up next, right here, Breakfast Central Sports. Right, so Breakfast Central, let's give you some sports updates. And it's 4 days to go. Yes, can you believe it? 4 days until the start of Tokyo 2020 Olympics, well, in 2021. Promises to be an Olympics like no other, really bedeviled by the coronavirus pandemic and all the problems circulating the issues there. Now, let's give you some updates. Now, we do know that South African footballers have tested positive within the Olympics camp, and that's the news we could gather that yesterday. In fact, it was also confirmed that the South African Rugby Sevens coach also tested positive for COVID-19 and is isolating. Now, the big question is, how many days do they have to isolate, and will it affect their sports before it all starts in Tokyo 2020? We'll be giving you updates on that. So far, so good. About 15 cases have been reported in the Olympics village out there in Tokyo, and there's been criticisms about the government still going on to carry on this Olympics. We'll just have to wait and see for that one. So 4 days to go until the start of the Olympics. Good luck to the teams there, and hopefully we can have a very safe games. Well, in the world of basketball, still preparing for the Olympics, we saw Nigeria's D Tigers, which is the female team of Nigeria's male side, who beat the USA a couple of weeks ago. Well, the Nigerian team lost out to the USA women, and it finished, quite a hefty scoreline, you have to say, in favor of the USA, 93-62. Now, these teams will also meet in the Olympics proper, so which means the Tigers still have to face the USA yet again. The likes of Atonye and Nyegifa also scored, and Elizabeth Williams also scored points, but they lost out in that one, 93-62, which means but good preparation for the Tigers ahead of the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. And let's talk about a man who has been receiving many praise since Saturday after winning the CAF Champions League, none other than the coach from South Africa, Pitso Mosimane. Now, he's been receiving many praise and also had lots of comments about African coaches beginning to get big jobs after he led Al Ahly to their third Champions League title on Saturday when they defeated Kaizer Chiefs by 3-0. Now, Pitso Mosimane has now won the CAF Champions League 3 times, which means once Mamelodi Sundowns back in his day in South Africa, and now twice back-to-back with Al Ahly. So it means Al Ahly have now won what we call the La Decima in Champions League football in Africa. And there are a bit of questions to say, will he stay at Al Ahly? Looks like he'll be staying, but all eyes will be on the South African coach who may, perhaps in the next couple of years, be looking at a job in Europe. Now, Pitso Mosimane is third overall with only 4 clubs won the CAF Champions League titles than him. We now know that he's equal the likes of Manuel Jose's records. So where next for Pitso Mosimane? At least is in South Africa, is in Egypt for now with Al Ahly, but you never know, contracts might come, and Africans are very proud of him winning the Champions League 3 times. Well, that's it on the world of sports, but there will lots to come later when it comes to In the Game.
Right, and that's all we have for today. Today being the 19th day in the month of July 2021. We are gradually coming to the end of the program Breakfast Central. But of course, We will be here again tomorrow to give you everything that concerns top stories from the continent of Africa. It's a public holiday tomorrow, but we'll be here, right?
Yeah, we'll be here. We do have a choice. You know, the curse of the job, as they say. On behalf of the cast and crew, we say have yourselves a great Monday and a great week. Bye-bye.
I don't know.